Hi everyone, this video is intended for the students who were in class today. We are going to be going over problems problems 8 and 10. Number 9 and 11 are the ones that I've left for you to practice, but I will show you those answers at the end as well. Okay? All right, so let's go on to problem number 8. So problem 8 is on the back side. I did not complete the front side of any of this since you guys did do it in class. Here is problem number 7 if you did not check your answer in class. All right, and then let's go on to problem 8. So on problem 8, the first step is to confirm whether this is a perfect square trinomial. So that is where I do b divided by 2 squared. If it is a perfect square trinomial, then the c value, where we have 7, would have been 25. So since it is not a perfect square trinomial, I need to move that c value to the opposite side. This is step 2 that we listed out on the front. So I will have x squared minus 10x, and then remember we're going to add in that blank space, is equal to negative 7 plus the blank space. Now what goes in that blank space? That's where we input b divided by 2 squared. Okay. So right here we're going to have 25, and right here we're going to have 25. This forces it to be a perfect square trinomial on the left side. So now we can factor that. Okay, so x squared minus 10x plus 25, that factors to x half of b squared is equal to 18. Now to solve this, we're going to use what we did in steps, let's see, 4 and 5, and as well as we practiced it in 6 and 7. But directly it's 4 and 5. So now with this one, we're going to take the square root of the left side, take the square root of the right side. Please remember to include that plus or minus for our 2 possible solutions. On the left side, this cancels out, and then we're left with x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 18. Now, we can't take the square root of 18, so I'm going to break that up into radical 9 times radical 2. 9 times 2 makes 18, and the radical 9 is a perfect square. So from there, let's go on to the next step. I'm going to add 5 to both sides of the equation. Remember that 5 goes in front of the plus or minus. So I have x equals 5 plus or minus 3 radical 2. So given for our 2 solutions, our first solution is going to be 5 plus 3 radical 2. And our second solution will be 5 minus 3 radical 2. Now, if I could combine those, I would. But since 5 doesn't have a radical 2 along with it, then they are not like terms. So these are our actual solutions. Okay? All right. I would suggest pausing the video here and working on number 9. All right, and then at the end of this video, I will show you the answers to number 9 and 11. Okay, so let's go on to problem number 10. So problem number 10, for this one here, we are now going to solve it, but this is when a is not 1. So if you look at the front side of your paper for step 1, we have if the leading coefficient is other than 1, we need to divide every term by that a value. So we are going to take number 10, and every term we're going to divide by 3. This will simplify to x squared plus 4x plus 5, which equals 0. Okay. Now, the 3 is still here. The 3 is our GCF. Okay, so that is the 3 out there. However, at this point, I'm only worried about the stuff that's inside the parentheses that still contains the variable x. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that for now. All right, looking at this, b divided by 2 squared, So if I have 4 divided by 2 squared, that equals 4, and I'm looking at this C value. That means it is currently not 4, so it is not currently a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to move that positive 5 to the other side. So I will have x squared plus 4x plus a blank space is equal to negative 5 plus a blank space. In that blank space, we are going to put b divided by 2 squared, which was 4. Okay. All right, on the left side, this is a perfect square trinomial. So we're going to go ahead and factor that as a binomial squared. So we have x plus 2, because that's half of b, squared is equal to negative 1. Now take the square root of both sides. There is a negative under the radical, so I know I'm going to have a complex number with an I. So we will have x plus 2, because the square root and the 2 cancel out, is equal to plus or minus the square root of negative 1 is I. That is something that we talked about in class last Thursday. Now, subtract the 2 from both sides of the equation. Put it in front of the plus or minus so that x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus I. Right? Now on this one here, we have our 2 solutions. The first one is negative 2 plus I. So x equals negative 2 plus I. And our second solution is negative 2 minus I. So x equals negative 2 minus I. All right, this is a great time to pause the video, work on number 11, and then come back and check your answers for number 9 and 11. Okay, so here's your solutions for number 9 and 11. If you have any questions on either of those problems, please don't hesitate to reach out, message me. I'm happy to go over them with you. And don't forget about that assignment that I have given you guys on big ideas. And I look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday.